Was it good? Right now, we got a certain amount. We just put it up now to about 16 minutes ago. Right now, 94%. Matter of fact, I could put it on screen for the family members so they can see it. If you want to vote on the poll, you simply go to the post, the section of the, I guess right here, you go to the posts of the platform right here, and then it shows you the first post out is Grade the Trade, Who Dat Nation. Of course, you can see about 16 people did it right now, and they have 94% of the pollers said that it's a good trade. Versus 6% said it was an awful trade. So if y'all want to get y'all comments, y'all can feel free to do that, or just throw them in the chat like y'all doing right now. I was like, yeah, hey, man, Q, I ain't doing that shit. The hell with you on that, man. We're going to just put these damn grades right here and now. Okay, all right, I see it. All right, so anyway, Tamika, I see that's an A. All right, Gundam, B minus. Jerry says A. Willie says A. Derek says B minus. Bev, shout out to Bev again, says A. Michael says an intention is an A, but I still see it. He says see an offensive live. It's a B. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right, Byron says it's an A plus. All right, thank you, Byron. What's up, St. Doug? Shout out to you, bro. Says it was B. V Griffin, what's up, B? V Griffin says it's a B. Ox says C at the moment, but can be upgraded. So keeping an open mind, that's a positive, right? Dana says a B minus. Thank you, Dana. The truth is this. Number one, shout out to you, fam. Says A. Okay, I like a lot of good grades here. A lot of good grade going on here. All right, brother Greg says, I like the trade, but I think Mickey overpaid for it. A minus. Thank you, bro. All right. Black Major. What's up, Black Major? Shout out to you. What's up, Brian? Brian says it's a B. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. All right. Big up. C. Quavatus says, I'll give it a C until I see how it works. Okay. Okay. I see what you did there. All right. What's up? Jan Doe says, finally catch you live. Who that? See you. Great. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you for being here. Much love. All right. What's up, Desi, baby? Shout out to Desi being in the building. Mike also says, calling the, what do you think about, Deanna Rossini said the Saints will call. We're going to cover that, Michael. I promise you we're going to get right on to it, bro. That's one of the things in one of the comments that I wanted, the stories and articles I wanted to touch on this episode of the show. So, let's just hop right into it and get right to it. And this is the one we're going to start off with. Why the Saints were comfortable giving up draft picks for wide receiver Devaughn Vele, right? And I'm going to give you guys a scouting report to kind of get familiar with who this wide receiver is. I'm going to give you the full scouting report on him so you guys can kind of get familiar with why the Saints made this move. But let's delve right into this article right here by NOLA.com. They were able to break it down, and pretty much what they said was national reaction to the Saints trade for Devaughn Vele was far from kind. Some of the commenters said, Saints, why are you like this? ESPN, somebody tweeted, Saints loaded up for week 18 win that gives them the 6th pick instead of the 2nd. Under no circumstances should the Saints be trading away draft picks right now. Pro Football Focus. So under Mickey, the Saints have a tendency to deal mid-round picks in an attempt to either show up the roster on margins or include them as a part of an aggressive trade-up. On Wednesday, the pattern continued. The Saints sent 2 picks, a 2026 fourth rounder and a 2027 seventh rounder to Sean Payton and the Broncos in exchange for Vele, a 6'5", 215-pound wide receiver who is coming off a nice 41 catch, 475-yard rookie season. Now, Vele's acquisition finally addressed New Orleans' glaring lack of size at the wideout position, but that didn't stop the criticism. The Saints critics urge again surrendering draft capital in what viewed as an unnecessary short-sighted move if Coach Moore first year turns out to be the start of a multi-year rebuild, as many expect. Then why are the Saints trading a pick that could end up inside the top 125 of next year's draft? The Saints don't see it that way. This is what Moore said. He says, always that's the tricky part. You identify players you really want, and then obviously there's a cost associated with it. He's a younger player. This is a second year, obviously, so he's on an initial contract in the NFL, and there's some value associated with that from a roster management standpoint. Certainly, we anticipate him being with us for a while. We feel like we're adding a really big piece that's going to contribute in a lot of ways. A big piece. To Moore, the cost control aspect of Vele's contract can't be overlooked. He was drafted in the 7th round. He's set to make $1 million per season over the next 3 years, and as Vele was productive as a rookie. Moore said the wide receiver played, quote, really tough downs, end quote, that resulted in big plays. Statistically, Vele caught over 74% of his targets last season and converted 26 first downs. But Vele's age had also come under scrutiny because he served a 2-year Mormon mission after high school that delayed his football career. Vele is 27 and will turn 28 in December. He is older, for instance, than Dallas wide receiver George Pickens, who was traded from Pittsburgh to this offseason in exchange for a third-round pick in 2026. The situations aren't the same. Pickens, in this case, is in the final year of his contract and is in line for a big raise in 2026. Now, whether the Cowboys or elsewhere, sort of situation matter to the Saints, particularly at a position which starters Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are going to be in need of deals soon. Indeed, Rashid Shaheed has 1 year remaining on his contract, and Chris Olave has 2. Moore said the Saints aren't concerned about Vele's age, nor are they worried about his knee injury that sidelined him for a portion of the training camp. Now, Vele did practice Thursday, but he passed the physical. The Saints too appeared to give up what they did because of the competition to acquire Vele. Broncos coach Sean Payton told reporters in Denver that one other team was more than serious in their pursuit for the wide receiver. He said Vele was one of the toughest trades of his coaching career. Come on, Coach Kelly, cut it. Coach Payton, cut it out. Forever the milker. All right, he's going to be a really good player for them. This is Coach Payton talking. Those are the tough ones. Really was able to come up with the 2 trades that were like that. Darren Sproles was a real tough one. I later regretted it. It also should be glossed over how much Vele's size fills a need for the Saints. As of late May, there were just only two teams to not have a receiver taller than 6'2" on their roster. The lack of size has been plenty apparent in the preseason, such as when Mason Tempton failed to run through a slant and was boxed out by a cornerback, then picked off, the cornerback picked off Spencer's pass. Vele, also intriguing, has done a lot of his damage from the slot, according to Pro Football Focus. 62% of his snaps came from that area. And according to Next Gen Stats, the 27-year-old caught 27 of the 41 catches from the slot position, resulting in over 300 yards. Moore said Vele will play in a variety of spots in New Orleans, which is key for us because we want to move our other pieces. At the same time, it is fair to wonder that if it was so obvious that the Saints needed to beef up at wide receiver, then why didn't the team act sooner? Signing a big-bodied receiver or drafting one of the team's 9 selections last April would have spared the Saints from coughing up future assets. The specifics might have dictated why, in free agency, the market was sparse with receivers who matched Vele's frame. And after the draft, Loomis said they wanted to take a receiver, but the timing didn't pan out. If something presented itself, it would have been awesome. Moore said Thursday, it didn't. Through the entire offseason, we just tried to build this thing as we went, and certainly was a valuable opportunity we did not want to miss on. So that's a very interesting thought process, as we've read ultimately from what they were saying about Vele and the Saints' decision to go after a receiver. Now, listen, fam, let me just say this, and y'all know that we've been saying the Saints need a big physical wide receiver this entire offseason. I watched film on Devaughn Vele. He's a talented wide receiver. And this is the thing: the Saints don't see this as a rebuild. Mickey Loomis hates the term rebuild. He hates the thought process. That's why he always has these veterans lingering around. He brings these veterans and piecemeals the team, adds young people to it, and tries to. His mind has a transition from an older team to a not so older team. You know what I'm saying? You did not exactly go from old to young, old to young fast. That's just not how he operates in his mind, right? But the Saints, their behavior is like we're trying to win something now. But like I said, man, that was a good question the reporter asked. Kellen Moore said no situation presented itself at the time, but there were other guys out there that we could have picked on. But Vele's not a bad guy. Let me show you something now. The comment about him being 27 years old and then next year he's going to be 28 years old, we're not concerned with that, according to what Kellen Moore said. That's the same stuff they said about Tyler Shuck. They don't care about the guy being old because in their minds, the Saints want to compete right away. In their minds. That's why they're not, you might disagree with it. Maybe you don't. But in the end, that's what they're in their mind. They don't care if Tyler Shuck is 26 years old. They don't care if Vele's 28 next year. All they care about is can these guys contribute right now? And that just seems to be the logic right now. And listen, if they can, they can. Now let's kind of look at this scouting report. Check this out, fam. Let me put this scouting report on the screen for y'all and show y'all something, right? Now, this is the scouting report that basically gives you everything, the kid's injury history and everything. Check this out. Devaughn Vele, second year wideout in the NFL, was recently traded to New Orleans Saints from the Broncos. He had a noteworthy rookie season, despite being a seventh round pick out of Utah. Vele recorded an official 40-yard dash time of 4.47. Did y'all know that? At the NFL's combine. So he's a 6'5" wide receiver that ran a 4.47 at the combine, right? 6'5", 210. 40-yard dash 4.47. That's damn good. 36-inch vertical, arm length 33 and a half inches, hand size 9 3/4. And then, of course, you look at the strength. Strength for him, Vele possesses excellent size and strength, making him a physical receiver who can excel against press coverage and in contested catch situations. His catch radius and hands. He has a wide catch radius and strong hands, allowing him to track and secure the deep ball and make catches fluidly. He's considered a reliable target, especially in the red zone. Route running. Vele is the balanced and savvy route runner with good hands awareness. He can utilize his size and long speed on vertical routes. He demonstrates precision in short and intermediate routes. Effort in blocking. He's tough and a physical player who fights for extra yardage after the catch. He's also an excellent blocker in the run game, right? And then we get down to, of course, we talk about Vele's age and, and then, of course, people kind of look at that thing, kind of say the age thing was always going to be something that the team seen as people seen as a problem, right? But anyway, let's get into it, man, because I see what they're trying to do. So anyway, weaknesses, right? Age 27. He's 27 years old and will return 28 in December. So he's 27 right now, and in December he becomes 28, which can be a concern for a player entering his second NFL season. He's an old rookie. He's a second year man. That's old. But if he contributes and he's a starter and he's playing for you right now, the thing on older players, right? The knock on older players is people tend to overlook the older players if the older players are mature enough to come in right away and start making things happen, right? So most teams will then be patient with an older player, right? And this guy came in with Denver as a 7-round selection and had a really decent year for a 7-round wide receiver. Over 40 catches, over 700 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns or something to that degree. I'm gonna pull up his stats momentarily as a part of the scouting report. But the maturity thing, that's what they're saying. If it's a team that wants to compete right away, then they figure that that older player is more mature than that younger player. That's how the Saints are seeing it. That's why they don't have a problem with Tyler Shuck or giving up 2 picks for a 7th round pick from last year, going to be 28 in December. They don't have a problem if it contributes to success. So that's what's going on there. So the Saints are definitely going to be hearing it from a lot of these, people on outside criticizing them giving up 2 picks for a 7th round wide receiver from last year. But whatever, if it leads to wins and productivity, you that shuts all that down. All right, anyway, suddenness and lateral agility. He lacks the suddenness and lateral agility to consistently create separations horizontally. His top end speed is considered good, but not exceptional, meaning he doesn't always necessitate or safely to help over the top. He doesn't necessitate to get there. Drops. He's shown some issues with drops, particularly when coming back to certain plays, to comeback routes, some of this type of stuff. Then you look at his performance, his numbers: 13 games last year, 41 catches, 475 yards. He had 470, said 7, but it's 475 touchdowns last year and averaged over 11 yards per catch, which means every time he caught the ball, it was more than the first down. His longest reception was 37 yards after the catch, 135 yards after the catch. Big wide receiver that needs 2 guys to bring him down. His receiving success rate is over 63%, close to 64. Okay, and this is what the Mile High reports also add into the scouting report about Mr. Vele, is that he says contextually, Mile High report notes that Vele was among the most reliable receivers on the Broncos in terms of converting targets into receptions. However, after the knee injury, In a crowded depth chart in Denver, Vele was recently added to the Saints. So the scheme fit and potential. Vele's size and strength and strong hands make him a good fit for a West Coast scheme or a spread offense where he can be utilized for long speed on vertical routes. He is seen as a reliable possession receiver who's willing to contribute in the run game as a blocker. While his age raised some concerns, his potential for development and strong hands should suggest he could become a reliable contributor, potentially competing for the number 2 wide receiver role on the Saints alongside of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Now, of course, as we go into the player history, Devaughn is his second-year receiver here, and this is his history breakdown. His breakdown in a rib injury of last year. Vele missed 4 games during his rookie season in 2024 due to a rib injury. He suffered cracked ribs in Week 1 against the Seahawks. He did not return to practice later in the season. He did return to practice, and he was removed from the injury report in Week 3. But he was a healthy scratch for a few games as he recovered. Then he had the lower leg knee injury. Vele missed. And they said 2025 offseason preseason, Vele missed the Broncos' mandatory minicamp in June due to a lower leg injury, which was later identified as a knee issue. Broncos coach Sean Payton indicated they were being cautious with his knee, managing his practice load to ensure he was fresh. The Saints recently reportedly aware of Vele's knee injury. They said the Saints reportedly are aware of that knee injury when they traded for him and were not concerned, as he practiced and passed the physical before the trade, and he's considered healthy by the Saints. So that is some of the scouting report on Mr. Devaughn Vele and some of in his speed. And like I said, impressive. And he fits, like we talk about. You wanted a big wide receiver, the Saints got one. 6'5", 210 plus pounds. Has 4.47 speed. And we were saying, man, let's get us an MVS or something like this. But this guy is more physical than the MVS, and he makes his bones in the slot position of the toughest area. So the Saints CMS, they called Kellen Moore, as we just read, calls him a big piece of the Saints offense. So this guy will come in and be one of the top 3 guys. With me, Brandon Cooks is going to slide down in a rotation, baby. So, but still in all, you still have a track team. You still got a track team. You got a track team. All these guys can run. Olave can move. Rashid Shaheed's the fastest guy on the field. He can move. Let's see, what I name? Olave, Rashid, all them guys speed. You got this guy here, Vele, who is 4.47 in the 40, big guy that can move. Brandon Cook still can move. Jason Tipton can run really good too. He's very fast. And then Pettis. So all these guys are got really good 40 times. So we still got a track team the Saints are building. It's going to be fun watching what happens with this whole situation. All right, so as Vele arrives, somebody got to go, right? And it is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones was released to make room for Devaughn Vele. Shout out to the Saints. Saints acquired a wide receiver on Wednesday, which likely signaled them moving on from one of their other options. The decision was made on Thursday. Shout out to Nick Underhill. He reported that Donovan Peoples-Jones was being released to make room for Devaughn Vele. Makes sense that Peoples-Jones would be the one cut, as the 2 players accomplished similar things. They're both big targets that will likely stand out as blockers and possession receivers. Peoples-Jones signaled early this offseason to expand, or he was signed rather to expand the receiver room. He didn't end up making any waves. Nothing. He didn't do a damn thing. Nothing for Donovan. We had a lot of high hopes from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Nothing. Nothing. He did nothing at all. So anyway, the Saints ended up putting him in the street. They signed him to a 1-year contract in free agency, and it was expected that he'd add immediate catch production with deep ball capabilities. However, Peoples-Jones has been a non-factor through training camp and has no catches through 2 preseason games. With the recent trade for wideout Vele and the emergence of Mason Tipton, Donovan Peoples-Jones likely needs a tremendous strong push late to make the Saints roster. If he's released as expected, and he was, then that's what it was. So he gets put in the street. So the Saints wide receiver room now includes Tipton, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cook, Cedric Wilson Jr., and Dante Pettis, as those vying for a role in the offense this year. It'll be interesting to see what the decision making looks like here with Vele a lock to make the roster.